Good morning, everybody, everywhere. Here we are, Transforming Love Community, 28 years old. We have been transforming lives for 28 years. And it really has been a joy for me to witness so much transformation in so many people. It has been so fulfilling. And I'm giving thanks this morning. Thank you. Thank you, God. And thank you, TLC family and friends. Hey, Joe, and hey, Fran. Yeah, 28 years. It's our birthday. We've been celebrating all month. It has been so rich. Dr. Spencer started us off this month, and he was talking about us tapping into the heavenly frequency, which we also know is the kingdom of God, the kingdom of heaven. There he is, Dr. Spence, the quantum. And then, let's see, who came next? Reverend Royce came next. And Reverend Royce was reminding us not to be tempted to lower our vibe. And then last week, Dr. Fabu came and she spoke to us about being in it, but not of it. And today we have Dr. Rose, and she's coming with her message, Meditate to Elevate. So this whole month has been about the higher vibrations and keeping our vibe high. Because Lord knows, in this season right here, Holly, in this season right here, that is our mission, our purpose, our focus, our proclivity is to keep our vibrations high. It really does matter. So I'm just giving thanks today for how good the universe, God, Spirit has been in transforming Love Community's life for 28 years. I'm just giving thanks today. And we are one, as Reverend Frankie Beverly is saying in the background. We are one. We are one with all of the love that there is in this universe. We are one with all the wisdom that there is. Whatever you need to know, family, remember right now, I have a knower inside of me. The knower knows, and the knower shows. Come on, I have a knower on the inside of me. The knower knows, the knower shows. I'm one with all the wisdom that there is. I'm one with God. Therefore, I'm one with all the love that there is. In fact, I am love. I never have to look for love again. I am love, which makes me a magnet. I'm a magnet. When we can remember these things, we become magnetic, family. We teach these principles because they work. We teach these universal laws because they work. That's right. They work when we work them. We're here today. Every Sunday, we're here to work it, to remember together, to rise up together, to be strengthened together. And we do give thanks. Hey, birthday girl, Reverend Danny, had a birthday. It was on the 24th. And we are so grateful for Reverend Danny and her Monday soaks. See, all that's a part of strengthening our community. We give, and we give freely, y'all. And we give you an opportunity to give back. Because one of the things I'm really understanding now is the law of reciprocity. Divinity will not enter into a relationship where there's not reciprocity. As we give, we receive. And it is all about giving and receiving. Yep. Sometimes we're really good at giving, but sometimes we're not open to receive. And I think it's because we don't understand it's one coin and it's two sides. And just as we are desiring to receive, it's important that you understand you're only receiving what you have put out. This week, as I was meditating, the words projection and reflection came to me. And Spirit was showing me, Shahira, you're like a broadcasting station. Whatever you are sending out is what is bouncing back. Spend time making sure that you're sending out what you really want and not what you don't want. That is why it's about you minding your mind. That is why I'm so happy today that we have a psychologist, an author, skilled, certified, knows what she's doing and talking about, Dr. Rose, because it is all about the mind. And you know what? Yeshua was a master psychologist. Yeshua understood that it was all about mind too, that we are being transformed by renewing our mind over and over again all day long. We had an awesome webinar. The other night. And from that, so much is coming up to be healed within myself. And one of the participants said, Reverend Shahira, do we have to work forever? And guess what? Yes. We want to understand where we are. Sometimes I don't know if we understand that this planet called Earth is a school, y'all. We are here to learn. We are here to grow. And every time that we go to another level, our lives get better. They can get more peaceful. They can become more prosperous. But understand, we never get it done. And when we get it done, the graduation is leaving here. That's right. It's graduation time. When we go on to another atmosphere, wherever we're going to be going, because there is only one life. And that life is a continuum. And with that being said, we're going to take a look at what we have coming up. You know, tomorrow's Monday. And Monday is the day that Reverend Danny comes and she facilitates us in a soak. And it's very important that we soak in spirit. It's very important that we saturate ourselves in spirit so we won't have to react when we see different things on TV, when people trigger us, because we will be soaked. And how we're going to react is in love. God bless you, Reverend Danny, and happy birthday. And we love you deep at Transforming Love Community, and you already know that. And next week, I'm getting risky on this one, y'all. Risque, as they say. Sex, money, and spirituality. You're going to be surprised of how all three of these work together, because it's all energy, y'all. And I'll tell you next week what really motivated me to come with this message next week. All right. And then following that, on a Thursday again, a webinar on soulmates, because I know that a lot of people don't understand, number one, that you can have more than one. It doesn't even have to be a romantic relationship. I had a soulmate named Cecilia Wallace who went back to see God, to live with God in 2007. And my husband, Bobby, definitely soulmate. I felt like I had waited lifetimes to connect with Bobby. And that's why that relationship was so rich. But guess what? It had its challenges and its issues. So it's not a thing of where you're going to meet somebody and it's all going to be peaches and cream. Elizabeth Gilbert, who wrote Eat, Pray, and Love, she says, soulmates come to smack you awake. So come, we're not charging any specific thing in this season. We never really have. We want people to be able to come, but it must be about reciprocity. So pay whatever you feel is right. Oh yeah, soulmates, I'm excited. I'm teaching things that I know about. I did probably 50 different seminars back in the day before I even met Bobby. I had done my work, and he came, and he's in heaven. He's in the spiritual realm. But we know spirit doesn't die. I give thanks that he came to help me grow up. He came and helped me to birth this ministry, my greatest supporter. So, any of you that have loved ones on the other side know that spirit can die. And I know that you miss them. And I know that you grieve, and grieving is healthy. Feel all your feelings. Give thanks because you never even had to know them. You never even had to have the experiences that you've had with them. And know that they too want you to go ahead and live. And you can carry them inside of you as you live. So today, Dr. Rose, Dr. Rose, Dr. Rose. I heard about Dr. Rose before I even met her. In fact, what my therapist, Jessie and Melva Johnson, had mentioned her name. And then I began to see her, and I just loved her. And guess what? She is a jewel. There are hardly any people that I meet that don't have very positive things to say about Dr. Rose. You can see her on Channel 4 and Channel 7. She has been featured on Oprah Winfrey's show, OWN. She's been on TEDx. Just recently, she opened up in, I think, California for Maria Shriver for her book signing, which is sound therapy. She has a wellness center, Bloom Transformation Center, downtown Detroit. She, I believe, really was the one who really introduced sound therapy to this city. I had heard about it in 2007, but she does many, many workshops and opportunities for you to go and to get this. It's a new therapy of wellness, sound, and it helps to heal on so many levels. So Dr. Rose is a psychologist. Dr. Rose is a mother of 4 incredible children. And we love Dr. Rose in Detroit, and we love Dr. Rose at TLC, and I love her personally. I call her sister daughter because she's young enough to be my daughter. I love you. Let's bring her on.
I love you. What a great introduction. You know, I feel so special today.
You are.
First of all, happy 28th anniversary. Mm-hmm. 28 was always my magic number when I was a kid for some reason. Yeah, you know, it was in my mind. I thought when I got 28, I was going to know everything. I was going to have my life together. And, you know, and of course, you know, that's what you think when you're young. But now that I've learned numerology, which, you know, which was another thing we had in common. You talk about you knew me before I knew you, but you were sending some of your church members to me to see me. And I just remember, I tell this story often because it speaks volumes of who you are, how, you know, you have to be very careful. So some of my clients aren't ready to dive into things that they never learned about as a kid. So, but, you know, when I was seeing your clients, it happened more than once where I would say, are you open to learning this science, this ancient science of numerology that'll help you learn more about yourself? And I remember one of them said, oh, my pastor told me what my life path number is. And I'm like, who is your pastor? Because I had never heard anything like that before. But that's what made me start just really honing in on you, because I wanted to know more about this phenomenal person who was truly teaching her congregation what the tools the tools they
Yes.
needed to truly be empowered, as opposed to feel as though they their power is outside of themselves, to learn that the power is within themselves. So, you know, as I learned numerology, I learned that my life path is a 1. So 28 adds up to a 1. So it kind of made sense. You know, it all came full circle. Maybe that's why it was my favorite number at that age. But I didn't have it all together at 28, but if I double that, I foresee myself having it together by 56.
Whoa.
How about that?
And I just want to say this before you start, because it takes 28 years for your Saturn return, and that's in astrology. So at 28, most people go through a lot of changes because the universe is saying it is time to grow up.
You just see, I didn't even make that connection. And you know, I'm ruled by Saturn. Saturn is my sun sign. So yeah, it makes perfect sense. This is what we're talking about, guys. It's so much order in this world if we just seek it. It's so much order. And I just love to have, I call her my sister mama, because yes, she is old enough to be my mama, but she too fly for all of that. So she's my sister as well. And so I'm just so pleased to be here. It's always such a pleasure to have this platform to just share. Oftentimes I feel like I'm sharing, I'm being repetitive, because this is stuff I've studied for so long and I see how it works in so many people's lives. But I'm continually told by folks that, you know, please keep sharing, because even though it's second nature to me, it's not second nature. And the more we hear this stuff, the more we can start incorporating it in our lives, and the more we can see our lives truly transform for us. So thank you for this privilege and honor. And I'm going to do my best to do you justice today.
You will. Okay, I'm waiting. Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Good morning, everyone. And once again, it's my pleasure to be here to talk about how to meditate to elevate. And as the wonderful Reverend shared, my background, I am a clinical psychologist. This year actually marks my 27th year of practice, 27 years. So next year will be 28. That's pretty interesting. We'll have to talk about that as well. So I am just so grateful to God of where God has led me in my career. It's not where, you know, I tell people all the time, my life looks nothing like I expected it to look, but it feels exactly how I wanted it to look. And that's what really matters, is how we feel. So today we want to talk about just the benefits and the reward that comes from incorporating meditation in our lives. The Reverend made a good segue for me. She mentioned Elizabeth Gilbert's book, Eat, Pray, Love. If you guys have not read that book, the movie came out, but the movie was good. It was entertaining, Julia Roberts. But the book itself, I tell people, when I got that book, I was in a very difficult time of my life. I had lost my father just a year or two prior. I was actually going through a divorce with 4 young children that now I was going to be the primary caregiver of. And I don't know, I think I may have saw Elizabeth Gilbert on Oprah Winfrey Show, and I decided to go ahead and get the book. And that book was so transformative for me at the time I was going in. But the reason I bring that up is because there is a passage, there's something she writes in that book that since over 20 years now, since reading that book, I share with so many people, and it's my own philosophy as well. And there's a passage that she says, prayer is the act of talking to God, but meditation is the act of listening. It's the act of listening. And that is so powerful to me for so many reasons, because if you think about it, think about any relationship that you have. Like, you know, as children, we're taught to pray, right? We're taught to get on our knees, God, lay me down to sleep, you know, the basic prayers and things of that. We're taught how to do that, but we're not taught how to listen to God. And that's what meditation does. So think about all the relationships you're in. Think about all the relationships you've been in. Think about the relationships you left. And oftentimes, as a psychologist, I know one of the biggest impediments to a healthy relationship is lack of communication. It's lack of communication. So when we even think about our relationship to God, imagine if you were in any relationship where all you did was talk to the person, but you never listened. You talk to the person, but you never listen. And again, you're talking to this person, but you're not listening. That's not a good relationship. So I'm even brave and courageous enough to go out on a limb to say that it's impossible to have a good relationship with God if all you do is pray to God, but you don't meditate to hear what God wants to speak into you. And if we just even use that analogy, I think that's reason enough for us to say we need to incorporate a meditative practice in our lives. Now, first of all, what are the benefits? We're going to talk a little bit about what the benefits are to meditation, why people don't meditate, and then we're going to also talk about ways you can meditate that you probably don't even realize is a form of meditation. And I'm going to end today by doing a just short meditation, guided visual meditation for you guys as well. So stick around, share with your family and friends, get on your phone, tell whoever needs to log into this, because this is some good information. And as I mentioned to Rev, I oftentimes, and I have to, and you guys stay on me, because so often I think, oh, I've said this before, or I don't, am I repeating myself? But every time I share this, there's someone who's reaching out to me at my center or on social media that says, thank you so much. You don't know what that did for me. That has given me a whole new perspective. And to see how people's lives are changing, transforming, and how they are incorporating the things, the feelings, the existence that they truly wanted for themselves with far less ease. I should say far less effort, more ease, far less effort than they ever imagined. And I truly, truly in my own life attribute meditation to that. So what are the benefits of meditation? I taught for 12 years, so I'm gonna read some notes here, some statistics. In 2002, it was estimated that 7.5% of adults, all adults in America, meditated. That was the estimates in 2002. So we're talking over 20 years ago. In a new study 20 years later, 2022, that number jumped exponentially to 17.3% in 2022. And I don't know all the variables because I haven't read the study completely, but if I even think about my own life in 2022 and the transformative, just the transformation that I saw in even people wanting and inviting me into corporations. This was post-pandemic, you remember that. So to go from 17.5% to get almost 10% more of the population meditating, I believe one of the variables to that was that we were in that pandemic, and so many people, the silver lining as a psychologist I saw from that pandemic is that it forced people to really sit still, which is what meditation is about, not necessarily sitting still, but stilling your mind. And they had to really, we felt in some ways hopeless. We didn't know what the future was going to bring. We didn't know if we were going to be in this pandemic forever, if our lives were going to completely be turned upside down forever. So this was the first time that people got to a point where they were able to surrender themselves enough to invite in these practices that maybe they really had never even given an opportunity to consider the benefit of. So those were some amazing statistics. When we talk about now, over 17% of the population is, recognizing the benefits of meditation. So if there's so many, and other benefits, let me just say this. At my center, I do the sound healing meditation. And one of the things we know by truth, some of the other benefits to it, it has been shown to not just have emotional effects in helping to regulate your emotions. It also has spiritual effects with, again, bringing you closer to a relationship with God. But the physical effects cannot be denied. Everything from lowered blood pressure. We have individuals who come in with autoimmune disorder that will report remission, prolonged remission. People who have insomnia will report better sleep. All of this from a simple practice of meditation. So when you talk about these amazing practices from something that is free, right? You can learn to meditate. You don't have to pay to meditate. Why is it that people don't meditate? So a few myths that I want to talk about right now. One of the myths that people don't meditate is that they say it's too hard. They say it's just too hard. I can't do it. I can't stop the thoughts from my head. I shared with my group yesterday. I said, we've let this mind. I write in my book, Bloom 7 Steps of Personal Transformation, that I believe one of the biggest impediments to our well-being in this point in time is the fact that we've taking this beautiful gift of thought, our mind, being able to have this mind that's just always operating, which is supposed to be for strategy, planning, and executing those strategies and plans, but we've allowed this mind to kind of become a monster, and we feel like we're ruled by the mind instead of understanding that the mind is just part of our body and we are spiritual beings having a human existence, and that mind is just part of this human body that we have that helps us to execute, to plan, and to strategize. But we have just we see ourselves as just being our thoughts, and that is why what manifests in so many people's lives is opposite of what they want, because our mind is a tricky little something, right? And so when we can learn that the thoughts are going to come in, because we've kind of just gotten ourselves in this situation where instead of using our mind for what it's meant for, we allow ourselves to be led by the mind. It's kind of, as they say, the tail wagging the dog instead of the dog wagging the tail. But when we can start to reframe our beliefs about meditation, this is when our lives can transform. Meditation, I want you guys to hear me when I say this, meditation is as natural as breathing. Meditation is not something you have to learn. Meditation is something you have to remember. We all came into this life when we were birthed with the ability to meditate. Meditate is nothing more than just being. It's being present, it's being tuned in, tapped into all of your senses. And I'm talking about the 5 senses and also that 6th sense of intuition, which is the most powerful sense that we have, but we have suppressed it. And why have we suppressed it? It's, again, we come into this world with the ability, with the knowing, just like we have the ability to breathe. We don't have to teach a child to breathe. You don't have to teach a child to meditate, but our families, our culture, our society will start to tell us that this has no value. It will, the traumas that we are born into, our parental, traumas that they're bringing into the act of raising us will start to suppress our ability to naturally tap into this meditative state. So I say that to say, again, meditation is not something you have to learn. You know how to meditate. We all do. We just have to remember. And there are practical things we're going to talk about today that helps you and will help you to remember and help you build the ability and strengthen that meditative muscle. And I guarantee you guys, once you incorporate this in your lives, you'll be just amazed at, again, how effortlessly and how easy those things that may have eluded you. And when I say things, I'm not just talking about tangible things, but I'm even talking about that state of peace that so many of us seek, how easily that starts to flow back in our lives, because it truly is about flow. So what's another myth? Another myth, and I faced this a lot when I started. I'm pulling out, I was doing a lot of moving around today, but I wanted to make sure I got this right. Another myth of why people don't meditate is that because of its philosophy, people confuse meditation with religion. In fact, about 10 years ago, I was part of this amazing pilot program with one of the school systems where we were incorporating, and we couldn't call it meditation because the fear was that parents would come and protest. Parents would come and, have a fit if they heard that their child was being taught meditation in school. Because so often and erroneously, people have confused meditation with religion. They see it as something that some beliefs that you're trying to impart or impose in their child. Again, meditation is as natural as breathing. So just imagine if people were upset because you're allowing your child to breathe, right? And so we called this program, we had to call it mindfulness, a mindfulness practice when we were in the schools. And the benefits that we saw were tremendous and almost immediate for these young children who, through the simple act of learning how to breathe properly or tune into their environment and to understand and empower themselves to regulate their emotions, it was the data just did not lie. It was showing how beneficial it was. Where recidivism rates for behavioral issues just dramatically lowered. And this is a program that was being done all over the country and everywhere, from some of the most gang-ridden places in our society. We're seeing the same results. But unfortunately, politics and things of that sort, many of these school systems lost this practice. You know, I believe there's still a few systems and school systems that are practicing this. I've seen some memes about that going around recently about how it's really just transformed even behavior in schools. But unfortunately, it's still not as mainstream as it needs to be. So those of you watching this today, I encourage you to encourage your school systems, encourage your community groups, and even in your home to start incorporating these practices. Again, prayer is the act of talking to God. Meditation is the act of listening and being guided. So those are two of the biggest myths with that, believing it's part of some religious practice that goes against Christianity, and nothing could be further from the truth. In fact, and in addition to wonderful Reverend Shahira, I have another friend, Reverend Dr. April Hearn, and I'm always going to these two individuals and I'll say, okay, what's some scripture? Because I'm not a biblical scholar myself, but I'll say, what are some scriptures that will help me? Because when I started this practice in Detroit, my sound healing meditation, I had long-term patients of mine, long-term clients of mine who really thought I had lost my mind, who were, I later found out, even going to individuals who knew me, like, I'm concerned about her. What is she doing? This is not of God. God doesn't talk about this in the Bible. Actually think I was doing some like demonic stuff. And if you know me, I don't even watch scary movies. Do you hear me? You can't even bring that stuff in front of me because I'm a believer of energy and I don't even want to welcome that into my lives. But the Bible and all religious practices, be it the Quran, whatever it is, talks about the benefits of meditation. In fact, and I pulled two scriptures up. One of them is Psalms 1:2, which says, but his delight is in the law of the Lord, and on his law he meditates day and night. And this one is often used to show that meditating on a spiritual truth is a form of meditation. And another one is Joshua 1:8, which says, keep this book of the law always on your lips. Meditate on it day and night so that you may be careful to do everything written in it. Then you will be prosperous and successful. So that ties meditation to both spiritual and practical benefits, and these fit very nicely. So we can now reframe that. We can throw away the belief that meditation is something that is sacrilegious or something that goes against your practice of Christianity. So we have to definitely get rid of those myths. Let me just even say this, and before I even started bringing sound healing to my practice, I was an avid meditator. And I remember in 2013, the American Heart Association, it was a landmark study that they did. They released a study that showed that actually regular meditation, reduce the likelihood of developing heart disease. And we know heart disease is one of the number one killers of people in our culture. It also showed that not only does it help reduce heart disease, it also helps to reverse the negative effects of those who have already developed heart disease. So these are just different studies, and the studies are continuing to happen. And we're seeing this shift because we are shifting in this world, right? We're shifting. All this stuff that we have tried for so long is not working for us. And this isn't new, even though a lot of this meditation talk, the sound healing meditation that we're talking about, is something that's new here in the Western world where it's coming about. When I started doing the sound healing meditation at my center, there was no other psychologist I knew that was doing this. None. And since that time, people have come. We've trained folks at my center. We see people who are popping up as sound healing meditation facilitators all over. Even mainstream media has jumped on. Not only has every major news station in the Detroit area come to my center to do a story on what we're doing there with the sound healing meditation, but we see even some of your national programs like the Today Show, Good Morning America, actually doing segments on it. And those of you who may watch the other stuff we don't really need to watch, I tell people, like my mindless TV, but even you have some of the Real Housewives shows that will show, they'll go on excursions where they're doing some sound healing meditation. We don't know how much is working well on all those folks, but it's just amazing, and it's very rewarding for me to see how many people now are being more and more open to this. Prior to me learning, I actually trained before I started doing the sound healing meditation. I went and paid and went through rigorous training to learn transcendental meditation. TM in our Western society is probably one of the best known meditative practices. There are hundreds of different ways you can meditate. We're going to get into that. We won't cover all 100, but I want to just basically give you an overview so you can understand meditation is not simply being still and just breathing or humming or saying some mantra. There's so many ways that you, I'm sure, enjoy that you can meditate, from being creative to cooking to walking to looking at nature. And we'll get more into that. But TM, Transcendental Meditation, some of you may remember if you watched the Oprah Winfrey Show when it was on the air, how she took her whole staff. I think she went and learned TM, Transcendental Meditation, in India by one of the masters that teaches this practice. And after doing it, she had her whole staff trained in it. And there's so many individuals we know, from popular movie stars, heads of CEOs of Fortune, 500, Fortune 100 companies, some of the top companies, I should say, companies in the world have leaders in these companies that credit meditation as their ability to take these companies to new height, to draw in abundance and prosperity. And if they can do it at that level, why can't we do it here where we are, to attract the things that we want to attract in our world? So as I mentioned before, meditation is as natural as breathing. We don't have to learn to meditate. We just have to remember. We have to remember how to meditate. So for myself, one of the ways, in addition to the sound healing meditation for me, is I tell people all the time, look to nature. Look to nature. Before we started, I had to move my set because I had my background. I've been blessed with this beautiful home just recently. I've just been here. I think it's just my third week right now. And I've been on the water for 8 years, but this is just a whole new level. I tell people I feel like I'm at a resort every time I walk in and I look outside at this beautiful setting and beautiful water. And, I credit even a lot of that to me just recognizing and letting God know that for me, the way I can tune in and tap in is with nature. And I tell folks, I was telling someone yesterday, I almost feel like, because this was not something I was necessarily looking for, it more so fell into my lap. But I tell folks, I believe God has said that, if she's going to have to spend the next few years, several years, whatever this transition and this shift that we are in spiritually in this world, helping people remember the truth of who they are. If her work is going to be, the heavy lifting of helping folks navigate that, I can at least put her in a place where when she comes in, she can be poured into, she can be refreshed, she can be renewed, so I can go back out the next day and do it. So, but nature for me is a teacher. Nature is a teacher. We are natures. We are nature ourselves, but we forget that. We are nature ourselves. We forget that. Just like nature that has cycles, We see the cycles of the seasons now, the leaves changing. I'm looking out now at the beautiful, yellow and red and all the vibrant colors. And we know that leaves are gonna fall in the next couple of weeks. And then we know what comes after that. And then we know what comes after that. We learn so much from that. And then if we start applying that to ourselves, then we can understand when we are in the different cycles. And there's no such thing as a bad cycle we're in. If we use nature as a form of meditation, nature speaks to us, and nature will let us know that just like the leaves are falling from me right now, so I can go within and then, I can be renewed. The things that may be falling away that you may be desperately trying to hang on to, the people, the places, the things, no, this is part of your cycle. And this is what we learn from meditation. I have to share this too. So again, I'm just so happy and excited about this new place that I'm in. You guys see, this looks like one of the backgrounds the fake backgrounds we put in on our background, right? But this is actually the background of my home now. And again, I'm just so grateful, so much filled with gratitude. But probably a week and a half, it's been busy because all this unpacking. I couldn't find my lighting for today's thing because I found the lighting but couldn't find the cord. But you can imagine, all of us who've ever moved, just how stressful that can be. But about a week and a half after moving in here, I decided to, it was a very busy day because I was still working. And I came home and I didn't get my morning meditation in, but I decided I was going to meditate that evening. And so I went outside and I did my meditation. And I was looking at the water, and across I was looking at a tree on the other side. And after I did the meditation, after I prayed, prayer is the act of talking to God, I started to do my meditation, the act of listening to God. And there was this particular tree across the water that I was looking at. And for some reason, what I heard, again, meditation is the act of listening, I felt my Father's presence. And maybe now that I'm speaking it, Father meaning the Father, Mother, Father, God, but also my Father who's no longer here. Like I looked at that tree and I saw a silhouette. I saw like a silhouette in that tree that reminded me of a man. And for some reason, it felt like it was my dad. And I said to that tree, I said, and I don't know if I even shared this with you, Reverend, but I said, wow, Dad, is that you over there? I almost feel like I feel your spirit so close to me. And I said, well, I'm going to try to make a mental note of where this spot is on this tree. So whenever I want to come and feel like I want to be close to you, I can look there. Let's see, something happened. I can look there. And I made that mental note. So after I meditate, this is part of what you can have as if you have a ritual. So what I did is I pulled out my cards. These are some cards that Reverend actually gifted to me this year for my birthday. And so I pulled out these cards right here. And I shuffled these cards 3 times, after I had that interchange that I just spoke to you about. And I pulled a card. And the card I pulled, I kid you not, you can't make this stuff up. Hopefully you guys can see it. And it was a tree. It was a tree with a face of a person in it. And you can see almost like a spirit looking at that tree. And it says, if you are in need of a lesson, there is wisdom in the trees. And when I tell you this is almost the same setting where I have the water on the canal leading out to the river. And then on the other side, it's a beautiful park full of trees. And it just amazed me. It blew my mind because it was also almost like it was, that confirmation, which if you know me, if you follow me online, if you've seen some of my reels I posted about the confirmation I get, and there's some confirmation I haven't even shared with you guys that I'll be sharing in the next few weeks that will blow your mind as well. But for me, it was just like that's the God speaking back to me. Like, yep, we hear you. We hear what you, and if you're in need of wisdom, look to the trees. Like, you can't get much plainer to that. So for me, nature is just one way of really tapping into that, because if we can look at the flow, because that's what ultimately we want meditation to do for us. We want meditation to put us back into the flow of life. We are intended to flow like meditation. We are intended to go gently in the rhythm of the earth and the rhythm that God wants us to be in, but we let this beautiful state of this mind and this beautiful gift of thought talk us out of it. You know, we allow that logic to talk us out of it. Another form of meditation, and I'm really hinting more so on meditation, things that you can do for meditation that's unlike what you typically consider. It's being creative. Being creative in whatever way that's creative for you. During the pandemic, I learned how I picked up the flute I used to play back in middle school, and I had a virtual teacher teaching me how to play the flute again. Just that act of creativity made me feel in the moment. I felt like I was just tuned in and tapped in. So, and learning an instrument or cooking is being creative, sewing is being creative, singing is being creative, writing and journaling. Any form of creativity is you being present, because what meditation is just that. It's being mindful. It's being in the present. I've said this a million times, and I'm going to say it again because I'm learning there's no such thing as being redundant, because repetition helps to really solidify what we need to hear. Thinking, when you are always thinking about the future, you're creating anxiety in your life. Future focused thinking, what's going to happen, next week? Am I going to be able to pay my mortgage? They're suspending SNAP benefits. We can catastrophize all sorts of things in my life. And this is not me trying to say we need to just not ignore what's going on in the world. But what I'm saying is that we cannot spend our present moment in future focused thinking, because that inevitably is going to create anxiety in our lives. Past focused thinking, if only that hadn't happened, if only we can go back to better times, that's going to create for you depression. That's going to create depression. The beauty is in the here and now. That's why they call the here and now the present, because it is truly, truly a gift. And when we do things, be it tapping into nature, being creative, becoming the sound healing, we are able to naturally be in a state of presentness, in a state of mindfulness. And it is this state of presentness and mindfulness that allows the abundance and the prosperity that's been wanting to flow into your life. It allows it to flow in. You don't have to do anything but just be. And watch it flow in. Like I said, I wasn't beating my head up trying to find this house. I had literally a picture of this same house. Had never even seen this house and not know this house existed. And I'm going to share that in a few weeks coming up. But when I looked, it was the exact same house. I didn't have to force, fight, coerce, manipulate. It flowed in, because I recognize the beauty, the power, the prosperity, and the abundance that exists in being in the moment and being mindful. I want to say this too, because Spirit is telling me I need to say this. One of the reasons, even in our culture, they have stripped so many of our schools of the arts. They have stripped so many of our communities of arts and things of that sort, is because they recognize, the powers that be recognize, guys, that when you tap into your creative nature, when you tap into your ability, when you tap into presentness and mindfulness, we are unstoppable, because we remember our power that way. We remember our power that way. So all this stuff happening in the world now that's just trying to distract you, trying to catapult you into this future focused thinking that is going to create that anxiety, or try to keep you in this past focused ruminative thinking that is going to just keep you in this oppressive state, that's by design. It's by design. Our biggest power that we have right now is to stay in the here and now, to tap into our senses, our five senses, which is going to help bring that sixth sense of intuition back on board, because that is what was suppressed for so long and is continuing to attempt to be suppressed. You see, when we get in our creative, they love our creativity. They love the, all the what this culture brings, right? And it's bigger than just they love a good beat, right? Or they love the art, or they love our good food and how well it's seasoned. They get a taste when they see that stuff of our power, and they are able to feel what that power feels like. So our biggest defense right now is to tap into our power by meditating, whatever that form of meditation is for you. Again, you don't have to learn, you just have to remember. And I'm hoping and praying that my talk today is helping you to remember. So I want to just end by doing a meditation, if that's okay with everyone, because I just looked at the time and I don't want this session to end without me being able to do this for you. So wherever you are, just get comfortable, because this is going to be a quick but guided meditation. As the Reverend talked about, I did something very similar. I was invited in, and this everything falls into my lap, guys. It's not that I'm not doing. Shahira said, "Forget the time." She said, "Forget the time. Let's get this going." But you guys, you can definitely follow me online. drrosemoten.com is my website, MOTEN, and I go on and do a lot of talks and videos on this, because this is my job right now. This is what God is calling me to do, to help you guys to remember. And having your rituals, like I said, that's another form of meditation, whatever that ritual is. I posted a video earlier this week of me making my morning cacao. Cacao is something that I had it in my cabinet for over a year, and it was Reverend, actually. I went to Costa Rica for a retreat in January, and then I spoke to her a few weeks later, and she talked about how she had some cacao in one of her amazing travels. And I was like, I have cacao here, but I'm not using it. And I started bringing that out and realizing the wonderful spiritual and physical benefits of that. So that's become part of my morning ritual. You should have a morning ritual too. Exercise is good. We don't discredit that. And for some people, exercise, and I know for me, when I ran 5Ks before I injured myself, 5Ks and running was my form of tapping in. So whatever's your form of tapping in, do it. Find it. Don't let anybody tell you that it's wrong or it's unnecessary, or that it's a waste of time. But cacao, as the Reverend just said, actually activates our stem cells too. We are so powerful. We have so much power to empower ourselves to usher in the life that we want. And I want to say this, as we do this individually, we are helping the collective to come back on board. It's time for us to just remember our coding, to remember what we have been coded to do. And by doing that, and the only way we do that is to be present. It's not to get caught up in the what ifs of tomorrow. It's not to allow ourselves to get pulled back into if only this didn't happen from the past. It's to understand everything that we need is in the right here and now. Every answer we seek resides right within. We've just got to connect with it. We are depleted. We are depleted, and we're depleted because we have forgotten. And you think about all the things in your life, All the tangible things around you, when they get depleted, you are so quick to recharge them. You recharge your cell phones, your car runs out of gas, you go put gas in your gas tank. You know, the boss, the job tells you need to do something. You go in there, you're working overtime. But when was the last time you filled yourself back up? You filled yourself back up with the knowingness of what you do at your core. Know is that you've got everything you need right within you to usher in, to invite in. We got to invite it in, to invite in the life that you desire. You've just got to remember. So let's do this. Let's get yourselves comfortable. Get yourself in a comfortable position. We're going to do this meditation. Settle into whatever space you're in. And I want you to gently close your eyes and begin to breathe in deeply. Exhale fully. Once again, begin to breathe in deeply and exhale fully. Inhale peace. Exhale whatever it is you desire to release. And with each breath, you're coming home. Not to a place, but to a person. With each breath, you're returning home to you. I want you to imagine you're standing at a start of a quiet path. It's a familiar path. Even if you have not been on this path in a while, it winds gently through the trees, dappled with light that sparkles like diamonds. And every step you take down this beautiful, lush path, you begin to shed something. You shed a belief that wasn't yours. There's a shedding of the role you had to play. You shed the mask that you wore to be accepted. You let it all fall to the ground like autumn leaves. You don't need them anymore. Keep walking. Your journey is not yet complete. Notice how much lighter you feel, more connected, more like you. And now you arrive at a quiet clearing. There's a beautiful mirror in the center that awaits you. But it's no ordinary mirror. This mirror reflects the true you. The version of you before the world told you who you needed to be, before the doubt, before the noise, before the performance. Look at your reflection in the mirror. It is radiant. It is aligned. It is power, it is softness, it is beauty, it is fire, all in one. And the best part, it is you You've always been there. You've just been waiting to remember. And as we close, take a deep breath in and feel your essence return to you, filling you with clarity, with knowing. And you are reminded that when you live from this place of truth, this place of inner truth, life flows, opportunities align, and you don't have to chase favor. Favor finds you. It finds you. And with your eyes still closed, repeat after me. I remember who I am. I release who I was told to be. I return to my truth, authentic, aligned, abundant. Smile softly. You've just been reintroduced to the real you. Welcome home. Thank you guys so much for this opportunity. I hope there's something or some things that you gathered from today's talk that you can take and incorporate in your life right away. And I invite you guys to come visit us at Bloom Transformation Center if you're here in the Detroit area. If not, follow me online. And just know, you just got to remember. Thank you all so much.
Home. I woke up feeling so much of spirit, and these are just tears of joy after 28 years. And starting when all of this was so underground, it's as if I had to hide for it to be where it is now, and for the message that you gave, so comprehensive on so many levels. I am grateful. And then you ushered us home. And I feel that. And even at my age, Rose, I feel the rebirth. There's a rebirth going on in me. And I'm so excited. Just so excited. I'm excited. Yes. So thank you.
Thank you.
And I'm not going to apologize for these tears. I've earned
No, we won't. We don't apologize for tears.
Yes. Thank you, God. Thank you.
Thank you.
Dr. Rose Moten.
Thank you.
Bloom Transformation Center. Y'all, stay connected. We need her. We need her. We need her. The world needs her. The world needs you. How about that? We all have a part to play. Just like the world needs me. We all have gifts to give. Wherever we give them. And you know what I love? I love so much. I'm going to be listening to this again. And I know you will too. And share it. Share it. We're here to uplift each other in this season. We got to keep our vibe high. This is why we call this month Vibrate Higher. And this is work you do all day long. And she gave us so many ways that you can meditate. You know, it's a walk in meditation and look at nature. I'm just excited and I'm happy and I give thanks. And I thank God for TLC. It's been a blessing to me. And I know we've been a blessing to so many also. I want to thank every person who has given into this ministry. I'm thanking every person who ever came physically. I'm just giving thanks today for being woke. that word that upsets people. I'm just thankful to really know I am spirit, ageless, deathless, and birthless. And I meditate all the time. I believe I live in meditation. I'm listening. I'm listening. This is the last quarter for me. I don't have time. I don't have time for nonsense or playing. And it's all about love, and it's all about wellness and peace. So at this time, we're giving thanks, and we're going to bless your offering, even if you've already given it. We're blessing it. If you have nothing to give, we're blessing it. We're blessing that you will have something, because as you give, you receive. And we know the truth that divine love always has and always will meet every human need. Favor will find you, as Dr. Rose said. Favor will find you. Divine love is what you are, and it's meeting every human need. Divine love in and through me blesses and multiplies all that you have, all that you give, and all that you receive. And for this, we do give thanks. We see you whole. We see you well. We see you with more than enough. God bless you. Go your way rejoicing and make it a great day. Meditate to elevate. Thank you. Thank you for watching. Thank you, God.